Sword Art Online, ReZero, Idolish 7, Apareranman, Food Wars, No Guns Life, My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, Hatina Illusion, Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater, The Millionaire Detective, Balance Unlimited, Pokemon, Digimon Adventure, A Certain Scientific Railgun T, A3, Season Spring and Summer, The Misfit of Demon King Academy, Card Fight, Vanguard Gaiden, Healin' Good, Heart, Pure Cure, Boruto, and One Piece. Out of all the things that were going to kill One Piece and bringing it off the air, this is not what I expected. Everything in that list, and quite a few more as it is continually updated, has currently been delayed due to the current situation, as we are not allowed, generally speaking, to mention it by name on YouTube for fear of the algorithm's wrath. But today I wanted to go over them briefly, unscripted. I wanted to talk about them very loosely and without all the information yet, because there are some things that I feel like we need to keep in mind, some things that we could potentially predict going forward, and generally just trying to rant. Not a negative rant, more of a, I have a lot of thoughts, and I just want a place to put them, so rather than just like hide them in a little ball and put them aside somewhere, I figured I'd make a video since I'm here in the studio today anyway. Now, we knew that some of this was going to happen. Allow me to put this away. We knew that some of this was going to happen because one of the earliest cancellations and moves that we saw was ReZero. We knew about that, like, I think over a month before the season actually started. But now we're getting into the point where shows have started airing. Shows have a couple of episodes out and then get delayed and moved. Millionaire Detective was one that I'm quite disappointed by because I watched the first 2 episodes over on Funimation. And I was really enjoying that. I really wanted to see where that was going to go, and now we have to wait. Plus, again, just the fact that things that have become institutions for over a decade, Pokemon, Boruto following after Naruto, One Piece, all off the air. It's just a change of an era of sorts. It's not that they're gone permanently. They will come back when the productions are able to resume, but it does kind of give us a look into how different studios handle different productions. To me, it makes a lot of sense of why the long-running institutionalized shows like Pokemon and like One Piece and that have been delayed, because they run every week. They have run every week for a long-ass time. And so, unlike other studios, there isn't as much of a backlog when it comes to how many episodes are being produced. Now, it is possible that some of these studios are able to shift gears and have a lot of animators and people working from home, potentially, but not everybody can do that. Some studios might decide that that's not worth it at all, or maybe it's a slow start. Maybe they're going to do that, but that means that their production scope has to get a lot more focused, and they won't be able to get episodes out anywhere near as often as they were. But it's also a kind of an interesting showcase on how different studios are handling things and how much backlog some studios are able to do. So shows that are currently still airing now, a couple of things could be kept in mind. What this could mean for those studios is that they're not as much affected by the current situation. It could mean that a lot of the work done on these shows was done far in advance, which happens in plenty of situations. It all depends on the studio. Some studios have entire seasons of shows prepped and ready to go prior to the season even starting, which is a point that I'm going to want to come back to. And it's also possible that we're going to see a lot more of these. Crunchyroll has a living document currently set up where they're going to add to the list of all the shows that are canceled and all the shows that are being delayed, and that is very useful if you want to know what you can and cannot look forward to. Moving forward, though, into the future, there is a couple of things that we do need to keep in mind. Again, yes, more shows probably will be on the delayed block. The longer that this affects things, the more likely that is to happen. Now, we could start to see some semblance of resurgence depending on how the industry handles it. If the industry handles it very well, we might be able to see some studios figure things out in a way that is hopefully safe for all of their workers. I know that in some parts of the industry, we have been seeing that based on places we have information. Certain dubbing studios, for example, there are some places on Funimation's end where they have been able to do some dubbing from home. I know that the My Hero Academia dub is still going forward, albeit I believe at a slightly slower pace, but it is possible. It's not anywhere near to the pace that they were used to, that we are used to seeing come from them, but it is something, and I'm quite sure that there are a lot of other industries that are doing their best to adapt. What I actually think is going to be the bigger issue is that, let's assume for the moment that everything is cleared up in 2 or 3 months. I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert, I don't know, we are going with a hypothetical. If everything is cleared up in 3 months from now, we are still going to be seeing an effect of this on our end for probably most of the next year. Because as I said, there are a lot of studios that have things built up, but it also means that the shows that are currently airing right now, if that is the case for those studios, then eventually they are going to run dry. Eventually we are going to get to a point where they got nothing left. So it's very possible that come next season, we're going to have very few shows to actually be able to watch and talk about. If we're lucky, some of the shows that got delayed will be able to pick up and take in some of the slack of that, potentially. But it could also mean that we might have a couple of seasons in a row with a small handful of shows, if we're lucky. Now, this is a big hit, of course, to our entertainment. And I'm not trying to say that anime is worth more than making sure that any of these people have jobs and lives. Of course, I want the studios to be safe. I want their employees to be safe. But I also know that there are some companies out there, not specifically in the anime industry, but just in general, that very much like making money, and they can't do that if they don't produce anything. So keeping an eye on what studios are doing and how they are adapting is going to be very interesting, very important. Even if some studios can't figure out what to do, if 1 or 2 of them get a really good plan going, a really good thing going that allows them to produce stuff in a safe manner, hopefully others will be able to pick up on that and the industry can move forward. Slower, but safer. It does mean that we are going to have to exert a bit of patience. But at the same time, we're anime fans. In some cases, we've been patient for a long time. We've been patient for the next season of Snafu for a while. At least I have. Couple of more months ain't gonna harm a thing in my mind. They could delay Snafu till next year. The fact that we know that the production was greenlit and that there was work done on it before this whole thing happened is good enough for me. Same with like ReZero and all of that. I know that they will work on it when they can, and as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough. I would much rather them do that than risk the health of anybody working to make these shows, because again, if anything happens to them, these shows might not get made, and I would rather these shows get made eventually than not at all. The industry has already done some suffering over the past year or so at some other studios, like with what happened with Kyoto Annie last year. And so what do we do on our end? Be patient, be understanding. We can do our best to support the shows that we can, that we actually want to support. I'm not telling you to support shows you don't like. That doesn't make any sense at all. At least not to me. And I'm trying to find, when I sat down to record this video, I was really hoping that I could have a positive note, especially since I also recorded a video that may or may not go up first. Probably not. That's a little bit more of a downer. So me recording today has been nothing immensely positive. And I really want positive. Positive is great. We can just have hope. There is a lot here to make us hopeful for the future. There is things that are happening that could potentially lead to good things. We're not always great with patience. We are great when we are patient when we're forced to be patient. So it's hard to be patient in this particular instance when we know that we could be watching these shows right now, but can't. And as sucky as that is, we can handle it. That's really the positive message we can probably take from this. Yeah, we can handle this. We have other things that we can do. We have anime that we can catch up on. Holy crap, we have anime that we can catch up on, which is something else we're going to be continuing in the future. More must-watch anime, because this is the perfect freaking time for it. If I can't talk about what's newly coming out because there's a lot less than normal, we can talk about things that have been coming out for decades, really. So I'm going to link down in the description to the living document from Crunchyroll to keep an eye on the shows that are newly outcoming. And as much as I would probably just say that hopefully everything will be fine, I know that everything will be fine. I don't think that I have seen any indication that we won't be fine. We might not be great, but we'll be okay. Just try to stay focused on the positive things. And right now the positive is, if you can't watch something that's coming out, watch the things that you haven't yet. There's plenty of stuff out there. So then what would I tell you to do? Watch more anime and stay frosty.